formally welcome you to the Entrepreneurship Speaker Series. We are grateful to Hillcrest Bank for sponsoring the Speaker Series, and we are very grateful to have with us today Rachel Raymond. So by way of background, she is the founder of Rachel Raymond Nutrition, and in that capacity, she does a lot of things. I'll mention just a couple. One is she does one-on-one individual weight loss counseling, and she also is behind a very, very successful Instagram page. By way of background, Rachel went to SUU. She has a degree in human nutrition, and she also has a minor in chemistry and a minor in business management. And she has a certificate from Northern Colorado University in dietetics. And we will hear a little bit more about that. Should be mentioned as well that she comes a very long way to be with us today. She traveled from Cheyenne, Wyoming. So please give a very warm welcome to Rachel Raymond.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I have just been running my business for over a year now. I started posting on Instagram about a year and a half ago. And starting a business always seems daunting at first. Who here knows you want to be an entrepreneur? Okay, some of you. And a lot of times it feels like it's going to be slow moving, but I can attest it can move a lot faster than you think it might. We're going to get into some details soon. So I want to share today a little bit about what my business is and my story becoming a dietitian. A lot of the fears I had around getting started, how I decided to get started finally, and just a little bit of Instagram insight, things I've learned along the way. Who here uses Instagram? Okay, a good amount of you. Okay, good. Hopefully it'll be relatable then. And things that you can do to get started now, because I actually took this class here at SUU 7 years ago, the first semester it was ever offered, and it was held in a different building, and all the speakers that came were multi-millionaires. I think we had a couple billionaires come and speak, and so when I started my business, I made it my bucket list item to be invited to speak to this class secretly. Professor Stillman did not know that. And anyway, so I felt like if I was invited here, it would mean that I'd made it. Still making it, so not where I want to be, but excited to be here. So let's jump in. First, I want to describe a little bit about what I do so you have some background. I offer nutrition coaching sessions, probably like what you might assume. I meet with clients over Zoom. We discuss their nutrition-related struggles. We make menus together. We do all the things. And I also provide an online course to my clients. I don't sell it individually. I do have one in the works, though. The 3 pillars of my online course are understanding macronutrients. I find that those are the foundation to better health and solving so many nutrition-related problems just all by itself. So macronutrients, for those who aren't familiar, are protein, carbs, and fat. I also throw fiber into there, even though it's not its own. I don't want to give a nutrition lecture today. That's not why I'm here, but that's the foundation. So many problems, like I said, are resolved just following those. Like people have better energy, and they sleep better, and they don't overeat, and their cravings go away. So foundation. And then the second pillar is mindfulness, learning how to be more mindful with your food choices. And then the third is mastery, because I like a good alliteration. Macros to mindful to mastery, where we talk about improving health through just anti-inflammatory foods and all the deep questions about nutrition. We get to that at some point. So it's kind of a one-stop shop, I feel like. I also use a Google Drive folder. I create one for all of my clients, and I throw handouts into there that they can access anytime. I do weekly check-ins where I just message them. I use Voxer, which is a free messaging app. So tip, when you get started, if you do coaching or anything like that, you don't have to have a lot of money to get started. Most of the things I did were free. I just used Google Forms, Google Docs, the free messaging app, and eventually had to invest in like Canva and Zoom and stuff like that. So it's not always as expensive as you think. And then, I just offer in-between chat support. They can message me anytime on Voxer. So that's my business. Has anyone already seen one of my videos? No? Okay, we're gonna play one. This is the content that I post on Instagram.
Dietitian, and today I'm making a savory snack box of pepper jack cheese for protein and fat, and enough crackers for each piece of cheese for some carbs and more fat. I'm using the Simple Mills sun-dried tomato basil crackers. The combination of the pepper jack and these crackers kind of tastes like pizza. It's so good. And then I'm making a refreshing mini salad with cucumbers and grape tomatoes for a little bit of fiber. I like to dress this with a little drizzle of olive oil and red wine vinegar, plus some freshly cracked black pepper and salt. But you could just use any vinaigrette that you like. I give it a little toss, and it's all done. This combination only took a few minutes to put together, and I know it's going to tie me over between lunch and dinner. If you happen to try it, let me know what you think.
Oh, I cringe so much watching my old content. Oh man, I don't think that ever goes away. You just have to get really comfortable taking ugly action instead of perfectly planning everything out. That's a fear I finally got over. This is one of the first ones that I posted. And another tip, if you do start an Instagram or any kind of social media account for your business, it's best to just make your content and post it right away. Don't wait, or else you won't ever post it. I have so many videos I've never posted because I wait too long and then I think, oh, it's not perfect. I said this weird, my tone of voice was wrong, whatever, you know. So just post right away. At the beginning, I also was posting these kind of posts, you know, like just sharing my nutrition philosophies and views to attract my ideal client. And honesty moment, I did move away from doing these because I was starting to get so many views on my other videos that I thought, why post these anymore? But I recently did some market research where I went back and I read through all my old Google forms because when people want to work with me, they just fill out my Google form linked in my bio. I went through all of them recently. And when I was doing these posts, I was getting lots of ideal clients applying to work with me. And then I moved away from them, kind of got wrapped up in the vanity metrics a little bit, thinking I need more followers, I want more views, that kind of thing. And then I started attracting not my ideal client, and they are much harder to work with. So I'm finally moving back to this kind of thing, but I'm learning along the way. So my ideal client, just so you understand, is a female, kind of millennial age range. She wants healthy habits that last. She doesn't want just weight loss because she knows that the quick fixes don't work. So she's willing to go low and slow. She wants more energy. She wants to lose weight naturally, set a good example for her kids, that kind of thing. So if you scroll through my content at any point, you'll think, that's not your ideal client, because like I said, I have not been marketing myself towards my ideal client for like the last 8 months until again recently, because I made that mistake. But anyway, I'm back at it, trying to focus on that again. So I want to share a little bit of my story becoming a dietitian. I know a lot of you are in those shoes yourselves, trying to figure out what to do with your lives. So it all starts kind of back when I was 12. I was obsessed with cooking and nutrition. Not really nutrition. I was making candy and baking and stuff like that all the time. When I was 12, we had a nanny actually for a little bit. Her first day, I was like, hey, you want to make some caramels? So we made homemade caramels her first day on the job. She was probably like, who is this child? So I've always been obsessed with food. And then I got into high school, ran cross country, and started to experience some self-awareness about my body, wearing short shorts and feeling uncomfortable. So I developed sort of an unhealthy relationship, or an unhealthy obsession rather, with being healthy, which kind of sounds ironic, but I just was obsessed with nutrition labels, and I memorized them all, and a good fun game for me is to quiz me on what's in an ingredient bottle. So I just became way too obsessed with that, and a huge misunderstanding I had was how many calories I burned. And I share this because this is kind of where it all started, but I thought that I needed to burn every calorie that I ate through movement. Some type of movement, like you gotta be walking or any movement, chewing gum, that's how you burn calories. And growth. I thought, if you're growing, you're burning calories, but also movement. And at age 14, I was this tall. So I was like, I stopped growing already. I'm not burning calories from that. I hopped on the treadmill and it said, you burn 100 calories per mile. So I thought, sheesh, no wonder they say eat 1,200 calories. I'm never going to be able to keep up with that. So anyway, I underate, I overexercised, became obsessed, and it ruled my life. Like, it's all I could think about because I wasn't eating the right way. And I guess the good thing about this is now I can relate to my clients really well since I have that experience. I solved my food-related issues going to college and becoming a dietitian, but that's kind of how it all started. And here's just a random tip that you really only need to be a few steps ahead of your ideal client to be of 100% help to them. That's all it takes. So I finally realized that. And so despite my love of food, I decided I wanted to be a pharmacist. So I came to SUU. I grew up here in Cedar and joined the Rural Health Scholars Program. After a year, I served a mission for my church, where I went to Wisconsin. And there is where I discovered how many women have food-related issues. If you're not familiar, on a mission, you're always paired up with another missionary. And so basically, I always had another roommate. I had 9 of these different companions, and most of them had some pretty severe disordered eating patterns. One was a former university cheerleader, and she lived on tuna and egg whites and spinach and oranges. And I still remember it 10 years later. And then at night, she would eat a lot of candy. So that was one. Another wanted to lose weight, so she bought a bag of apples and a bag of carrots for the entire week. And then, of course, ended up going to Culver's every single day. And then another, she and I were given a lot of sweets, like bags of Lindor truffles by just people all the time, and we didn't want to eat them. I actually gained like 20, 25 pounds on my mission. And so we didn't want to throw them away because they were too nice. So we threw them on the shelf, and we stuck little sticky notes on them saying, "Go away, Satan," or like, "Not today, Satan," just like pretending like we were being tempted. Anyway, it was so disordered. But that's when I finally realized I want to help people with diet, not drugs. So I came home and decided to become a dietitian, and still stayed at SUU, although SUU didn't have an accredited program for me to immediately go in to do an internship afterward. So I had to finish that later, but I just felt so passionate about this. Like, I had struggled with it. I felt like I could help people. A lot of my missionary companions, they came to me naturally. They felt like I was kind of their guru, even though I did not know what I was talking about. So I kind of felt this passion for it, and I want just a tip for you is that I feel like any passion can be turned into a lucrative business if you're passionate enough about it, and if you know how to do hard things. You need those 2 things. You need a passion, and you need to know how to do hard things. If you know that you've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, you were the kid selling lemonade or candy, or if you're me, snow cones and granola bars on the street growing up, then you're never going to be satisfied doing anything else besides being a business owner. Anyway, so after college, I got married. We moved to Arizona. I finished 12 credits online through another university, and at the time worked for Dillard's, actually, gained some sales experience. In fact, last week, a line that I learned working for Lancome, I work for Lancome Cosmetics at Dillard's, it came back to me as I was talking to a prospective client, and they use this acronym. It's called WSGAT. What's so good about that? And so if you're selling a product, you say, look at this advanced genifique serum. What's so good about it is it seeps 7 times deeper into the skin than any other serum on the market. What's so good about that is it rejuvenates the skin. What's so good about that? Younger looking. Anyway, you can just kind of go on and on and on with it. So I share that because any kind of sales experience will help you. So I recommend finding a way that you can gain that now. I ended up doing an internship, which is over 1,200 hours working with other dietitians. The field that I loved the most was working at a private practice. So they hired me after I was done to come back and work for them. I worked for them for a year and then had a baby, so I quit working for them, and for 8 months didn't really do much. But being a stay-at-home mom when you're used to working is kind of lonely. So I really wanted to start something. Money was kind of getting tight as well, so I applied for a couple jobs, even though I knew I wanted to start a business all along. I did a couple interviews, realized that the hospital only paid up in Cheyenne, where I live, They only paid dietitians $26 an hour. And when you have to pay a babysitter $10 an hour for daycare, it's like, oh, sheesh, 16 bucks an hour. That's not giving up much if I decide to start a business. So I decided just to go for it and give up the 26 bucks an hour. So, but I had so many fears around starting a business. And I'm sure some of these will probably resonate with you as well. Like, I felt like too many people were already doing what I wanted to do. I thought social media was flooded with dietitians. Of course, they were the people that I was following, so that's partially why I thought that as well. But I looked and I thought, there's no way anyone's going to want to follow me or do what I have to offer, because there's so many others out there. But then I realized it doesn't matter how many people are out there. Their followers will follow me too, because if people are interested in your type of content, or a specific type of content, and you post that same content, they'll follow you too. So I finally got over that. And then I also had some comparisonitis, right? Everyone else's stuff looks perfect. You know, they've got memberships and they're so far ahead of me. But I realized that everybody starts somewhere, and perfection is just another form of procrastination. If we wait till everything is perfect, we'll never start, because no one starts out perfectly. You just have to start. And I did do an online course a few years ago where this quote was shared. He said, "Imperfect action beats standing still every time. Just take action and do something. That's the only way you'll ever learn." And I find when it comes to sharing social media content, you never know what your second step is until you take the first. You just have to go for it. You don't waste time planning everything perfectly, because you'll never get there. I was also afraid that people would judge me, like family and friends would be like, "Oh, look, Rachel's trying to be an influencer," you know? And it turns out some of my friends were my best first clients, and they always gave me great feedback, and so I didn't need to have that fear. Another fear was that I'm too young and people aren't going to trust me. I'm not too young now, but 6 years ago when I wanted to start a business, I felt too young. And the truth is, it doesn't matter how young you are, as long as you solve a problem and you seem competent doing it, people will buy into it. They'll follow you, whatever. I know another dietitian who's 27, and she just published a super successful cookbook. And I'm like, why did I have this fear? I don't know if anyone has that fear, but that was something for me. And then another thing is, I'm just not ready. I haven't planned everything perfectly. I don't know enough. When it comes to like a healthcare profession, you obviously need to know stuff. But when it comes to starting a business, you really only need to know about 40% of what you think you need to know. And I learned that in this class 7 years ago. I think Rich Christensen said that. And so finally got over these fears and decided to start. So I got a phone stand for my videos. I got a $7 editing app, and I posted my first video. And still cringe about it, but I never would have gotten where I am today if I hadn't just started. So I took a couple screenshots. These are the very first reels I posted. They were all kind of random, but somewhat nutrition related, you know. I made these videos during my child's nap times. And one thing I do want to share is, like, I always felt like my house needed to be clean before I could start anything. Like, everything's got to be perfect before I can work on my business. I got to do that first. But then I realized I missed out on so many opportunities to make videos, because then my child would wake up and the house wasn't clean yet. And so I just learned to make videos when my house was a mess. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but I just kind of like shove stuff out of the way so it's not in the view of the camera field, and my kitchen is secretly a mess all the time. I was, like I said, I was kind of posting random content because I needed to figure out where to go. I put all kinds of ideas in my phone notes of what I wanted to do. I thought I was sharing some good stuff, but it wasn't really taking me anywhere. And then I had this thought, well, I'm going to share the individual, my foundation is macros. I want to share all the individual components of a snack on a plate, because that's something I recommend to do. So I did that, and that was my first reel that went viral, and it was my 14th reel. So it's not like it happened super fast, but it did happen pretty fast. And I thought, okay, from here, I just need the right little container to show all the components of a balance of macros. So I went to TJ Maxx and I didn't find anything, and found a little toy for my kid, and I was in the checkout line, and I found this little snack box, and it was $5, and our money was so tight. I was like, do I buy it? It's $5. Anyway, I risked it, and I bought the $5 snack box, and then my first, I think, 6 or 7 snack boxes went viral. To go viral on Instagram, they just consider that it means to have over 100,000 views. So, which for me, having 500 followers to start was kind of a big deal. So I was really excited about that. Like I was kind of saying before, got sucked into the vanity metrics a little bit. Along with these, I was posting those carousel-like posts. This is just a screenshot of the reels. I felt like I gained 22,000 followers in 3 weeks. And I was freaked out because I thought, I need to provide the same content. I need to please my followers. I don't want to lose them. So I kept on doing the same type of posts, which was fine. Like it's still good information, but it wasn't totally geared toward my ideal client. Something you just live and you learn. So like I said, I was doing all of these. I finally realized if you want followers or you want your business to do well, we need to focus on what you can give, not what you can get. So I was always focused on providing value. And one of these big moments where I was like, what can I give more? How can I provide more value? I decided to do this Walmart post or reel where I shared what I would buy at Walmart for a week of weight loss. And it did really well. And so that was great. But like I said, not geared toward my ideal client. There are some pros and cons to making like a generalized video like this. One, you can gain followers. For some platforms, that's really good, right? YouTube, you want more YouTube subscribers to make money for ads. But for Instagram doesn't really pay anyone. I guess they just barely started paying me a bonus income for my reels, but I make like 83 cents to $5 per video. It's not anything. So there's some good things and there's some bad things. The bad thing is even though I got more than 14,000 followers from this one reel, followers do not equal sales. Just because someone has a lot of followers doesn't mean they make a lot of money. I think that's a common misconception. But the right followers can equal sales. Because of all of this, I only gained 6 clients after this reel, which for me was like $6,000, which is great, but not. It's not what it looks like it was, right? If it had been geared towards my ideal client, I could have made more. And that's something you have to realize. Like a lot of people think, oh, I don't have enough followers yet, I can't do well. But if I had just 100 of my ideal followers, I could make over $100,000 a year. That's all you really need. So just remember that. The numbers don't really matter as much. As far as Instagram insights go, a lot of the success or the virality of a video depends on the video length or the video views, how many views it gets. If it's a long video and it gets a lot of views, that's good too. Engagement, like the shares and the saves and comments, likes, and whatnot. And those are all helpful. So I just want to share some things that I've learned. Like I said before, perfection is procrastination. You can't wait till everything is perfect to get started or you'll never start. So that's a big, big thing for me. People like simple, like especially when it comes to the snack boxes. The simpler my snack box video, the more views it gets. It could be, like I showed you that cheese and crackers one. I think I had 1.5 million views or something. I had so many comments, people saying, it's cheese and crackers. Yes, it was so simple. So it doesn't matter how simple your service or product, if it solves a problem, people will buy it. And then something that was concerning to me is just like, how much are people going to pay me for my services? And I realized people aren't going to pay what I would pay necessarily. So you can't always assume people budget the same way that you budget. I don't know, that was specifically helpful for me. And then sales can be really cringy, but if you wholeheartedly believe in your product or service, you're saving lives, right? You have to think about that. So for me, I know my program works, especially for my ideal client. It solves so many problems. They feel like a new person. A lot of people say it's the best thing they've ever done for themselves. And so for me, I have no problem selling now. Like, I get so excited about it. But you have to believe in your product. So just remember, sales is saving lives. And some other things, there's a difference between a following and a community. So I have a following, but I don't have the best community. It's people that comment and share and more than just like your content, you know? And that's what I've just started working on. Now I'm more focused on nurturing my followers instead of trying to get more followers. So that's a big deal, finding a community. And then another big thing is that, like I said before, you can turn your passion into a lucrative business as long as you're passionate about it enough, and you can do hard things. To do hard things, you also have to be able to stick to goals. And to stick to goals, you have to be able to change your identity surrounding those. This is something I share a lot with my clients is how to change your identity. A lot of us have food-related issues, or not issues, but habits. And the only way to break them is to change our identity around it. So that's Atomic Habits talks a lot about this. Who's read Atomic Habits? Anyway, okay, good. I'm glad some of you have read it. It's really good. I recommend it. James Clear is the author, and he talks about how to change your identity. So basically the gist is, if you want to change something about yourself, set an actionable goal around it, and then tell yourself at the same time that you accomplish it, this is who I am. So for example, my clients are working on their exercise and their nutrition. So if someone wants to get into running, at the same time their goal would be to start, maybe run a half mile a day or something like that. And every time they put on their shoes or head out for their run, they tell themselves at the same time, I'm a runner, and allow it to become part of their identity. I just started applying this with my clients, and I had to test it out myself personally first. So a few months ago, realized I am not a clean car person. I can't keep my car clean. I don't know why. And my mom came to visit, and she cleaned up my car for me, and I was kind of embarrassed. So I decided to apply this. So my goal was, every time I get out of my car, I'm going to take everything with me. And then at the same time, I tell myself, I'm a clean car person. I know it sounds so silly, but it works, and my car is still clean to this day. So I know that these things work. If there's something you feel like you need to improve, to do whatever it is you want to do in life, try that tip. And then also learning how to do hard things is so important. I'm sure all of you have done hard things. You're here in college. This is hard, just showing up today. But something I also recommend to my clients that you might like is to do a 7-day confidence challenge. If you're feeling like confidence is low, everyone feels this way sometimes starting a business. Like, oh, I can't start. I don't know enough. I'm not confident. I don't know how to do this. What's really helpful is to try this challenge. So every day for 7 days, journal about one hard thing that you've done in your life. And then you can look back and have your 7 hard things that can kind of boost your confidence a little bit. I was listening to a podcast a while back with Dr. Anna Lemke. She is the chief Stanford addiction medicine clinic director, chief, whatever. I did not introduce her right. But she was saying, she was talking a lot about balancing dopamine and pain. So for every simple pleasure, scrolling our phones, eating a donut, stuff like that, we pay a price. Dopamine and pain are kind of like a teeter-totter in our brains. And so if you want to be happy, you want more dopamine, you don't want to experience the pain. The pain that comes after one of those simple pleasures is something like anxiety or depression or mood swings or a craving for more donuts, something like that. So the best way to still be happy all day long is, well, one, trying to avoid your drug of choice, but also intentionally inviting challenging experiences into your life. The research shows when we purposely do something difficult, like take a cold shower, be without your phone even, like that can be a challenging experience. Push yourself at the gym, something like that can actually increase your dopamine levels gradually for hours afterward. So that's the key to being happier. And to be happiest, You want to turn your passion into a lucrative business. So I heard that on a podcast, and then I bought the book, but it's the Liz Moody podcast. I recommend her. So these are some things you can do right now to get started. I wish I would have stuck with my blog. When I was in college, we had to do a 90-second pitch at the end of this class. Do you guys have to do a 90-second pitch still? No? Oh, man. You guys you need to start that again. It's a good experience. You have to come up here and do your 90-second pitch in front of the whole class. And mine was to start a blog. It was so basic. But I did start it, and I only posted like 3 times. But I wasn't consistent because I compared myself too much to all the other blogs out there and thought, there's no way, like, taking pictures of food is actually a lot harder than it looks. And so I didn't stick with it. But what you can do is start now and be consistent. There's something you can do. You can even if you want to become a healthcare professional or something like that that's going to take years, you could still start a blog, do a YouTube channel, Instagram, something related that can help grow your confidence in that area. And then gain sales experience. Like I was already saying, my sales experience from 6 years ago still helps me today, especially like commission-based sales. And if you feel like there's no way I can do that, there's always opportunities. I know my sister likes to do solar sales, but she's a CPA now. She'll just she'll go out and do like a 10-day blitz and make really good money, but also learn so much. In 10 days, you can learn so much about yourself doing a sales blitz. And then something that really affected me was just getting ready every day. I know this is so basic, but you want to get ready every day, even if you have no plans. It's a Saturday or maybe a Sunday and you're not planning to do anything. Get ready because it results in more social experiences. Those things allow you to make connections, which will help you in your business. Like I said, most of my first best clients were like coworkers or acquaintances from college or people that I already knew. And for me, it was helpful because then I felt like last minute, if I had a video idea, I could just make it versus being at home with my kid, not getting ready for the day. So get ready every day. And then get out of your comfort zone, because is your comfort zone really a comfort zone? I think it's more of a familiar zone. You know, you can be very familiar with working a 9-to-5 job and coming home and grabbing takeout and binging Netflix. And that's what some people might call their comfort zone, but it's not truly comfortable, right? So force yourself out of your comfort zone. Comes back to doing hard things. You can set a goal to purposely do one hard thing. I think it's helpful if you have a significant other, a roommate, ask each other at the end of the day, what hard thing did you do today? And that will help so much. I think you'll be surprised. It makes you so happy. Kind of going back to that interview with Dr. Lemke, she said, whenever we face a challenge during the day or something that might make us feel like, oh, pity me, my life sucks, I just got stuck in the snow, you know, see it as a challenge instead of the other way. Because when we do that, it can boost our dopamine and actually make us so much happier. Even though we've just been through this sort of sucky experience, it can make us happier. I should have applied that yesterday when my tire blew on the way to the airport, but I made it anyway. So that's something to consider. And then, like I already said, don't wait till the house is clean. Or maybe for you, it's not waiting till your house is clean, but it's something else, right? There's always something you feel like you have to do first, but just jump in, set a goal. My goal is to post 2 to 3 times a week, and that's what forced me to keep just posting, even though my posts weren't perfect. The first few reels I made, I think I voiced over them like 30 times before I came to a voiceover that I finally accepted. And now it takes like 1 to 3 times, and I'm like, that's fine, and I just throw it up there. So I wouldn't be a true entrepreneur if I didn't throw in a little pitch for myself here. 30% off services for SUU faculty and students. But are there any questions for me? Nutrition related or other? Yeah.
What's like a cool success story you've seen from your clients?
Oh, good question. So, I mean, so I've seen so many. I'm just like, a lot of them have lost weight, collectively, hundreds of pounds lost. That's pretty exciting. I think one of the coolest things is just hearing from them say to me, like, I got home and sat on the couch and I didn't feel like eating a dessert when normally they would. Like, it's just the little things, I think, that add up so much. And realizing that their lives are totally changed, they're no longer restricting and binging. It's just seeing that. One person said to me, "This is the greatest thing I've ever done for myself in my life." And I was like, oh, that's so exciting. And they just say, oh, nutrition is like so much easier. It's not a chore anymore. It's second nature. I think it's just the cumulative, all of that. That's been the best. Yeah.
Do you do YouTube as well? Is that like, you trying to hit the masses? Have you thought about that?
I just started 3 weeks ago a YouTube channel. I'm just reposting my old stuff, but I do want to do longer form content. Yeah. Yeah. Good idea. Yeah.
Was there something you did initially to gain that audience, or did it just naturally happen?
I mean, I started with my personal account. I didn't start fresh. So I had 500 personal followers. And no, it just organically happened. I didn't do anything specific. It was the snack box reels. Yep. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask with your reels and stuff. Did you ever like pay to have them advertise or anything? Or?
Nope. No ads. I still don't do ads. Yep. Yes.
What's your pricing and how do you charge your customers?
Oh, good question. So I meet with clients either every other week or every week. So I call it level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is every other week, level 2 is every week. So for level 1, I charge $247 a month. And then at level 2, $347 a month, which is actually a lot less than a lot of dietitians out there, charging $500 a month. And then I use Stripe to bill, so I set up an invoice. A lot of people pay me in full for 4 months. I require a 4-month commitment. So they'll choose, and I offer a 10% discount to pay in full. So they'll just do one invoice, which is pretty simple to set up on Stripe. And then for those who want to pay monthly, I do a subscription on Stripe, which seems super complicated at first, but you can just YouTube it. It's not too bad. Yep, that's how I do it. Yeah.
How do you manage time? What does that look like for you?
Good question. So I have a toddler, and my husband works a million hours, so pretty much just don't count on him helping with anything, ever. He's a medical resident. So I just, I do pay for a daycare now. At first was only taking him to a babysitter for 1 or 2 days a week for the first 6 months, and then I got a daycare. So I take him for 5 hours a day from 10 to 3, and then as soon as I drop him off, it's a race to get as much done as I possibly can. I make a plan. I have a little planner every single night so I can check off what I need to do the next day. And I just, whatever it is, there's a certain timing that's better for lighting for videos. So I, try to do those then. I try to do most of my clients on the same days, like Wednesdays, Thursday, Fridays are big client days all day. Monday, Tuesday are kind of like my make video days. But it's all kind of up in the air. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's sustainable what you're doing as far as meeting with one-on-one, or do you want to turn that into an elite where people pay the premium to have it and then put everything else just as content on YouTube?
Yes. So, yeah, I can see myself kind of burning out from this.
Yeah.
I love it. It's my favorite. At the end of the day, I feel like running a half marathon. It's truly the best. But with my toddler, it's not great because I don't get as much time with him. So yes, that's why I'm making an online course right now. I bought an online course. It was really expensive to learn how to make an online course. So I've been working on that and hopefully doing more YouTube stuff so I can get paid through ads.
Yeah.
Starting a podcast, that's on the list.
Yeah.
And it's tricky with nutrition coaching because it has to be individualized. So I want to do a group coaching, but then I still have some worries about how that's going to work out. but I do have some ideas running.
You gotta step it into like just doing basic meals and things like that, like to make it fast. Is that?
That's the problem. People don't want that. They want customized. So I'm figuring it out as I go. Thank you. Yeah.
Has it always been a learn as you go process, or did you have someone or something that kind of like taught you what to do in the beginning?
I did do an online course like 4 years ago. A dietitian had made it. He's like, this is how you can start a nutrition coaching business. And so I did that. It was pretty pricey. And I felt like I learned a lot. He talked about like setting up the right forms that I need to have. Just use Google Forms, like so simple, but I still felt like I didn't know enough. It was just my own personal fear. So I had that knowledge at least going into it. And then I hired a business coach back in November last year. I can't really even put a finger on what exactly I really learned from her, so I don't know. I think it was good. But no, I just kind of went with the flow. Just you post, you do your first step, and then you figure out the second. I don't have a posting schedule. I don't have a content planner. I probably should. I have like running, notes in my phone on what kind of content I want to make, but I just kind of post whatever the weather calls for that day. I don't know if that's the best advice to offer you. Yes.
Like this viral video?
Yes.
And the video output doesn't do as well. How do you deal with that?
Oh, yeah, the discouragement of a video that doesn't do very well? Yeah. I just live with it. I think by now I know that there's ups and downs. Like some videos are going to do really well and some are not going to do so well. But I need to be consistent because when people come to my page, I see this a lot where I'll get a whole bunch of likes from one person on a whole bunch of videos. So I know they're going to come back and scroll through all of my content and see and like things. So I know they'll come back to the backlog later. And I don't know exactly how the Instagram algorithm works. Algorithms, I guess I should say. I know that they put signals on you. So if you like a certain type of content, they're going to show you that more often. And I don't know how I live with that. I just keep going consistently. I have a goal to post 2 or 3 times a week. And don't look back. I have deleted a couple of videos that didn't do very well, though, to be honest. Any other questions? Yeah?
Do you have any employees or anything about this?
Nope. I do not have employees. And no, I'm not thinking about hiring any right now. I think I can do it myself. YouTube's pretty awesome. Teaching you how to do stuff. Yeah, what was your question?
Would you hire employees just to manage clients? And like say if you're one-on-one clients and you decided you would write out the basic sketch of what they want and meal plans and stuff and have your employees execute it, would that be feasible like way in the future?
Maybe in the future. And when people apply to work with me, they think they're working with me. So, yeah. And like I said, I had a business coach last year, and she just did a group call every week and kind of let other people run things, and I didn't love that. So, like, if you're going to pay a premium price, you need to work one-on-one. So, I think when I get to that point where my schedule is too full, then I would just up my prices. Honestly, I'll keep them the same for my current clients, but for new ones, I just up it, and I think that's my plan for now. But in the future, I think what I'll move actually to is doing a group call, doing like 1 or 2 group calls a week, posting the Zoom link on a private Facebook group, and letting people watch the replay, and so they can like ask personal questions in the Zoom calls, like live. And then I provide them also in conjunction with that an online course so they can go through content and then get some one-on-one. I think that's my next step. Good question.
I think we have time for one more question.
Okay, I think you were first.
Do you get most of your new clients from referrals from past clients or from social media?
No, just social media. And this is an area I need to work on because I know I need to work on my community. A lot of my people that apply to work with me, they've never even reached out to me through DMs. So I know I need to work on that approachability and whatnot, but 100% my Instagram. I do have a website, but most people that apply to work with me say they've never seen it. So you don't even have to have a website. In fact, I know like you can create a landing page if you're just selling a digital product, like a course or a download or something, and you can create that landing page just through Thinkific or Kajabi or something like that. And so a lot of people are very successful just doing that. Like, don't feel like you have to have a whole website, just one simple landing page. Anyway, thank you so much.